Waifu over meta. It's a common debate I've been seeing around Genshin Impact, and as somebody with a lot of characters, some of them with constellations, some of them at C6, and even more weapons, I kind of want to give my 2 cents on it, because I'm an individual who has gone for some more meta options, like the multiple staff of Homas I have. Many of you may be out of Primo Gems, especially if you're trying to get Chevreuse. And if you are out of Primo Gems, then I have a solution for you. This video is sponsored by lootbar.gg. Lootbar can save you up to 20% on every single top-up you do in the game. This applies to both Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, meaning that instead of spending $100 in every top-up, you instead spend $80. To clarify, I tested this service myself independent of the sponsorship to ensure its safety, and I had no issues and received my Primo Gems in a timely fashion. So if you're already spending money on HoYoverse games, you might as well use Lootbar to save money. Not to mention that if you're topping up in large amounts, Lootbar can save you hundreds of dollars. Use the link down below to check it out and give it a shot. If you plan on spending for either of the current characters or maybe some others in the future, it might be a good idea to save some money while doing it. Thank you again to Lootbar for sponsoring this video, and back to the normal content. I'm an individual who also polls for characters I legitimately enjoy regardless of their strength in the meta. In terms of my Spiral Abyss usage, yeah, I haven't always 36 starred. I've done decently well here and there, but I've only 34 starred, and sometimes I'll just wake up and decide I don't want to do Abyss. And as you see here, it's 27 stars. 27. That was like a whole month I just didn't feel like I didn't want to be bothered. But regardless of circumstance, I have cleared Abyss, and I've done it with different teams. As you see here, this was the Raiden Yelan team, and it swapped around. For a while, just didn't use Dendro, and I think that's become even more prevalent. As we go into Genshin, and as we've gone on over time, we've seen certain teams and certain characters such as Xiao and Albedo be phased out in favor of stronger DPSs. Yes, in this instance these were hyper carries, and we saw them being phased out in favor of reaction-based damage, vaporize and melt. And that's changed alongside characters like Ganyu, who previously used to run Bennett and Xiangling alongside each other. Now you can run a Nahida and Bennett together for burning, and that's perfectly fine. But even Hu Tao was theoretically power crept out of her position with characters like Neuvillette, and then that changed with the release of characters and elements correlating to Dendro. And I understand, at least from this perspective, that it's very difficult to look at a character who you legitimately like. Let's say hypothetically you love Eula, and you want to make her extremely good, but you're finding that even if you invest into Eula, you can't clear Abyss. And so a lot of individuals point directly to certain characters like Nahida, who can dramatically improve their experience. Oh, if you get her and you do Aggravate or Hyper Bloom or Bloom in general, it improves her, especially given how some individuals may have characters like Neilu or characters like Sino, who actively want Nahida or someone similar to assist him in applying that Dendro off-field. I can understand your perspective, but I do believe that a problem kind of enters this situation when you're looking at a character you like. Hypothetically, let's say next patch is Yoimiya and Raiden, and you love both of these units, but you understand that the patch immediately after that is going to have Yae Miko and Nahida. Now, I'm not saying this is true, I'm just saying hypothetically. Then you're inclined to be in a position to where you can say, yes, I love Yoimiya, or I love Yae, I love Raiden, but all these characters don't assist my account in the way that Nahida does, but you hate her. The question I would then pose to you is, do you need her? Does she matter to you? If she doesn't matter to you on par as a character, if you don't care about her in the same vein that you would a character you like, or maybe a character whose story, or even just personality you like, maybe you like Eula, maybe you love Farina, maybe you like Venzi. Even though these characters don't have to be the most meta, if you legitimately like them, you're gonna have much more fun investing and building into them. Yeah, you can get a cracked out Nahida, but if you hate the character, you aren't going to be very happy with that cracked out Nahida. My favorite character in the game is Zhongli, followed by Raiden Shogun. I got Lenny. I love this dude. He's great. And these are some of my best built characters. Nahida is too, but I don't like Nahida, not in the slightest. And even though she's good, I will never actively be able to enjoy this character because I pulled her solely because I wanted and had a Neilu. I wanted and had a Sino, and I wanted to use these characters. I didn't make the decision to pull Nahida because she's a good character. I didn't make the decision to pull somebody like Nahida because I like the personality, like I like Yae, I like Foxes, I like Raiden. Every other character here I legitimately enjoy, and there's Nahida who's solely here for the gameplay mechanics she offers my teams. And I want to clarify, that doesn't equal happier, better, or more fun gameplay. Spiral Abyss, after floor 12, doesn't change. It's floor 12, 11, 10, and 9. 9 and 10 are easy, that's 300 gems. These two are additional 300 or 600 a month. And bluntly speaking, floor 12 is the one people have the most trouble on. Getting a character you hate for the equivalent to 300 to 600 gems is not worth it. If these two are 300 gems and it's 600 a month, that doesn't really mean it was worthwhile to pull for that character because, bluntly speaking, those Primo Gems could have gone towards something else. Next patch, Raiden comes. I'm pulling C2 or C3, depending on how the pulls go. But I would prioritize and recommend to anyone who's, even if you're struggling into the abyss, yeah, you can try different teams, but don't think you need a character. I was tunnel vision into the concept of pulling for a unit such as Kazuha. Kazuha is one of my best built characters. I hate this man. I never use him. I have his weapon. I don't use him. His talent, uninvested. He's C0, he's on VV, and I don't use him. Why? Because I don't have teams that realistically would benefit from me slotting him in. I could throw him in with Lenny, but at the end of the day, I would much rather just slide in a Shang Ling and a Zhongli and Benny and be happier. And I think that's the thing to consider. If you have a character who you picked up, and I'm ignoring the standard meta units because you don't have a choice with those. If you have a character who you picked up who you don't like, you aren't going to be proud of them and you aren't going to actively use them as much. A lot of us, even though we can focus on Abyss, even though we can fixate on that, run around with the characters we enjoy. If you love Yoimiya, you're going to try and use her as much as possible. Same thing with Lenny, same thing with Nilo, and so on and thereforth. You can do main DPS Nilo. But if you are chasing the meta, pulling solely for the concept of a character being strong, you will not have fun, because you are arbitrarily going to kill that fun in favor of getting those little bit of extra primo gems. I understand every primo gem is a primo gem and that's valuable, but if you are spending more primo gems to theoretically get more primo gems in the long run, I don't think it's worth it, because eventually a character can come along that you may love more. If you pulled for Nahida, yeah, she helped your account out. But hypothetically, those primo gems could have also gone to Furina constellations, or in Nouvelettes, or constellations on somebody else you actively enjoy as a 5-star, and maybe they would have pushed your account even further. This isn't to say skip out on meta characters. This is to say, instead of debating waifu over meta, why not instead just prioritize characters who you view as a waifu over husbando that are actually good? One of the characters I love getting, and one of the characters that I still use a lot to this day, is Yoimiya, my Miko, and my Xiao. Xiao is my very first 5-star. He's C1. I want more constellations on him, but the rest of his cons are kind of bad, so I've kind of been prioritizing everybody else above him. But even though characters like Sino aren't that good, he is C6. Why? Because I find him fun. Even though, yes, I can understand a more meta character like Nouvellette may be better, my Nahida will forever sit down at C2. Because, yeah, her C6 is strong, but I don't like her. And so, make rules for yourself. You don't have to clear Abyss to have fun. You don't have to prioritize the meta to have fun. My Raiden Shogun is triple crowned. Is that worth it? No, but she's worth it to me. My Zhongli is triple crowned. My Ganyu is triple crowned. These are units who I legitimately enjoy. Xiao, triple crowned. Even Lenny is triple crowned. And he's C6. So prioritize the units that you legitimately like the personality of, the design of, the character of, whatever the case may be, even the gameplay. But don't chase after meta, because at the end of all this, you would much rather be able to say, I have the strongest Fischl, the strongest Lenny, the strongest Yelan, the strongest of whatever character you enjoy, than to say, I have the strongest Nahida or Nouvellette, but I hate them as a character. Because you don't want the character you hate to end up becoming the best character on your account. Because that is a situation to where every time something gets hard, you whip out your Nahida, and you clear the situation, but you don't feel good about it, because this wasn't the unit you wanted to use. So, all in all, I recommend just prioritizing the units that you like, because that's what this game is about. Having fun, getting the characters you love, and then moving on from that. Don't focus on the meta, because you're just gonna hate yourself in the long term. By the way, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.